Hi, everybody. It is Eamon here with another episode of the Pathmonk Presents podcast. Today, all the way from the Midlands in the UK, we have Martin from Pure Maintenance UK. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Thank you for having me, Eamon. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I mean, it was amazing just hearing a little bit about the success that you're having at the moment, having been founded in 2020 and incredible growth going from 3 people up to a team of 40. So I guess everybody's asking the question. I mean, tell us a little bit more. Give us a quick download on Pure Maintenance UK.
Yeah, no worries. And I think the incredible growth trajectory that we've had in terms of even just looking at our staff has been just due to the nature of the market that we're operating in. Um, Essentially, what we do, Pure Maintenance UK, is we are a mold remediation company. So it doesn't sound very rock and roll, but if you live or have ever lived in a property with mold in it, it is something that is unpleasant. It's something that can be very, very difficult to get rid of. But what people realize less is that it can actually pose significant health risks. There was a case up in I think it was Rochdale or Rotherham, I forget which one, but it's a case of a tragic case of a young boy called Awab Ishak who died unfortunately, and the coroner ruled that the cause of his death was exposure to damp and mold in his home. And I don't know in other countries, but certainly in the UK at the moment, we're seeing a huge amount of focus put on the living conditions for people particularly in sort of council properties or social housing, where they're forced to live in very, very moldy homes. And so where we come in is we actually have an exclusive license for patented technology that we have procured from our parent company in the States. Now, what it does, and I'll try and keep this as simple as possible so I don't send everyone to sleep. But what it does is it eradicates mold, and it does it in a few ways. So the first thing that we do, I mean, traditional mold remediation could have and would have involved the actual, investigation, i.e., creating holes in your walls to see behind there, to identify leaks and hidden mold. And then also, and then since then, what we call ULV fogging has come along, which is kind of a wet fog. Now, what we offer is something called dry fog. And very briefly, I'll explain what that is, and why it's different and why it's patented. So what we do, it's a two-step process. So our technician will visit the home of a customer who has mold, who's booked us. And the first thing they will do after their initial inspection and dehumidification of the property, to bring the humidity of it down, is to basically deploy our patented dry fog into their home. And all that is a fog containing a sterilant which has the ability to denature mold or make it inert, harmless. Now, what makes it so special and different, and why we call it dry fog and why it's patented, is because the machine that we use condenses the molecule size of the sterilant to such a degree that it can't condense on surfaces, which means it has to dwell in the air. We then create positive air pressure so that that fog fills the entire volume of a room, and it forces the sterilant into every nook and cranny. So that's the first step of two. So that's the eradication of the mold. The second stage is we then apply an antimicrobial film barrier on all surfaces. And so what this is basically it covalently bonds to all surfaces, meaning it becomes one with the surface. It's intangible, invisible, but it becomes one with the surface, and it electrostatically attracts mold spores to it, so that once we've eradicated all the mold, if new mold is to enter the property, it's electrostatically attracted to the antimicrobial film, whereupon tiny microscopic carbon spikes pierce the mold spore, and it's called a mechanical kill, eradicating the mold in that sense as well. So we are eradicating your current mold and protecting you against the return of mold growth. And we do offer additional things, like we do surveys, we do air testing, before and after to prove that our job has done its job. We leave behind a hygrometer to measure your humidity, and essentially that's I guess our unique proposition. And no one else in the UK offers that because, as I say, it's patented. And some of the real benefits are we're in and out in a day, whereas traditional mold remediation it might be 2, 3, 4 days, particularly if you're having to demolish walls, which again adds to the expense.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, if you can save time and save expense, it makes sense. Like with this, like what different, like obviously you're growing super quick, like to go from like 2 or 3 employees up to 40. I mean, what different acquisition channels are you using to get the word out? Is it social media, LinkedIn? Is it email? Is it, how are you getting the word out at the moment?
Yeah, so to be honest, it's primarily so my background is in sort of digital marketing and web design. So I'm pretty experienced with Google Ads, and I know that in my mind, the way that I always view SEM and SEO is that SEM is your immediate route to traffic, but more expensive. You pay a premium for it, and SEO is the more long-term route to traffic and more sustainable and cheaper. Obviously it's free at the point that the person visits your site, but you put in a lot of work prior to that. And so really, we've leveraged Google and its ad network very, very heavily. And then we've also started to, we started pretty quickly to integrate with sort of referral platforms. So you're thinking of like Checker Trade and Trust a Trader, and I know they have like Craft Jack in the States and things like that. So like business directories where a user can search for a particular use case and will come up. And then we're starting to get now into, the more, if you look on our website, you can see that we have amazing reviews. And so our wonderful customers are now referring friends and family. And also, a lot of people, particularly the immunosuppressed, really struggle, really struggle. Mold is a real concern for them. And so they visit functional wellness practitioners who, are able to sort of address their lifestyle and look at things like mold in food, mold in the air, to the extent that the NHS just wouldn't have the bandwidth to deal with. And now we're starting to get a lot of referrals from them too, now that they understand fully what we do.
Fantastic. And with this, like you mentioned, your website and SEO. I mean, how important is your website at converting those visitors into future clients or future happy clients?
Yeah, I mean, I would say our website's incredibly important, and that's not just because I built it. It's I would say it's and any pro web designers listening in, I'm sure can pick many faults with it, but for us, it's our vehicle to educate our customers. So essentially, the process looks like this. Typically, the people that are engaging with our business, particularly residential, are what we would describe as bottom of funnel. They're already in a position where they know they want to buy something and they want to buy something now. That something being mold remediation services or something that will get rid of the mold from their property, because either it's unsightly and they're sick of it and they've exhausted all their options, or it's actually making them really sick. So we've got someone bottom of funnel. They've now seen our advert and we're claiming we can be in and out in a day, eradicate your mold in a way that no other company can replicate. So then when they land on the landing page and our wider websites, the website's job is really the vehicle for giving or educating them sufficiently enough that they want to get in contact with us, but without sort of causing death by science and going massively overboard. So really I see it as that, and I see it as the means by which we sort of get them from mildly interested to absolutely convinced that we are the company for them and we can solve their problem. And of course, how do we do that? Well, that's a different question, but there are lots of different things that we would look to do on our websites because everyone's different, right? You have people that like to read, you have people that like to watch videos, you have people that like to see case studies. And these are the things that we will do on our website to try and cater to all people, but get them to that point where they're ready to speak to us.
Okay, fantastic. And kind of switching gears a little bit and talking more about you, Martin, as a leader within marketing. I mean, with this, I mean, what keeps you busy on a day-to-day basis?
So the nature of a startup is that you kind of have your fingers in pies that wouldn't normally be yours in a bigger business, right? So I do get involved in a lot of other projects that are going on, and internal projects. But I would say, and I should say as well that other companies within with sort of other companies that operate in the States using the same patented technology have now started to approach us and ask us to run their marketing for them, because obviously they're selling the same product and they've seen that we've had success. So some of my time is on that, but most of my time really is on SEO at the moment, just because that's a channel that we need to spend some time on to really establish ourselves long term. So I think I do my Google ads review daily. I do some website tweaks and improvements. I've got a content calendar, so we're talking blogs. Primarily blogs at the moment. We really need to get into video, and then sort of educating myself as well. I really think it's absolutely critical that I keep my ear to the ground, because particularly at the moment times are changing, and if you don't keep your ear to the ground, you're going to get left behind, and things are going to change, and you think they should be working. And I think beyond that, it's just another thing that I'm really trying to tackle at the moment. It's attribution and data. So, one of the most critical things, particularly from a paid marketing avenue, is getting the right data and attribution accredited to the right source. And then feeding it back to those, particularly a paid, like Google Ads, for example. If you don't send accurate data back to Google Ads, then it's just not going to be as efficient as it could be. And so we're really trying to crack that with all the privacy laws that are coming out, and it's becoming increasingly more difficult to get accurate information.
Yeah, well, definitely. And times are changing, especially with everything that's happening. So, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I wanted to give you the last word, Martin. I mean, if people were to forget everything that you just shared, if you wanted to leave them with one thing to remember about Pure Maintenance UK, what would that one thing be?
I appreciate that, and I think about Pure Maintenance UK, I would say. The sort of the ethos of the company, right? Which is that we are a health first mold remediation company. So a lot of companies offer mold removal, but what they're really doing is just painting over it, putting bleach on it, which depigments it, changes the color of it so you can't see it, but actually makes it worse, in the sense that the mold is now invisible, but it's going to be aggressively trying to protect itself because it's a living organism, sporulating into the airspace. So we really are a health first mold remediation company. And everything we do is to improve and protect the health of our customers. So we're not just there to make your house look prettier. We're not just there to satisfy your tenant. We're all about improving health and protecting health from this very, very dangerous, organism that lives in people's homes, that people are only just sort of waking up to at the moment.
Well, that's good. It's good to hear that you're putting people first. And I think every business should definitely do that as well. And yeah, definitely, you're doing great work and definitely can have serious health benefits as well. So thank you so much, Martin. I'm no doubt I will hear about Pure Maintenance UK in the future. And that is it. So everybody, that is it. I look forward to seeing everybody on the next episode of Pathmonk Presents. All the best and bye-bye.